Welcome everyone to a Flycast Partners webinar. This is the first of our Freshservice tips and tricks series, where we're going to talk about increasing CSAT scores and employee productivity. The webinar today, we're going to be focused around ways to accomplish this in the Freshservice IT service management solution. However, we have a lot of people on the demo today that aren't using Freshservice. So a lot of these tips can apply to the products you're likely using. And if they can't, we'd be happy to have a discussion with everybody on the line about Freshservice is a good solution to evaluate and possibly switch to see some of these benefits. I'm your host, David Apple. I've been around the IT service management field for over 12 years, helping customers find and evaluate the right fit, or ITIL maturity, different solutions throughout the years, just as the industry's evolved. And I'm a big customer advocate, focusing on different types of knowledge, content, and material that we put out. Here at Flycast Partners, we're doing a lot of market research on the different solutions that are out there to help best organizations go through their ITIL maturity. Of course, my 12 years of experience is about half of our other guest here, Bobby McCullough. He's had more time in the field, actually specializing in not just demoing these solutions, but actually implementing them for organizations. He specializes in not only IT service management, but has spent a lot of time in the asset and the financial aspects of those organizations. Bobby has a lot of experience in multiple implementations through multiple industries and verticals. So he has that expertise on what's kind of specific to the healthcare industry, finance, the different regulations, as well as doing things for different state and federal agencies. So Bobby, thank you for joining us today and walking us through some of these tips and tricks.
Thank you for having me, David.
So quick overview of the agenda. We're going to actually try to cover 3 topics today. First, we're going to go very in depth onto actually understanding customer satisfaction, because that's really the root of it, is discovering what you need to know before you find a way to improve it, which goes to our next topic, increasing that customer satisfaction amongst your end users. And we're taking a additional tip one step further, where we're also going to look at the health and satisfaction of your employees that are utilizing, whether they're the first line technicians, people further down the road doing more level 2 work, but ways that not only can you increase your employees' satisfaction, but how that actually affects your end users as well. So a Freshservice tip and trick we're going to start with understanding customer satisfaction, which really we want to have that visibility. It's either lacking in the knowledge, or sometimes for some organizations non-existent. How do we really feel our customers are? How do we identify if they're unhappy? How do we identify if they are satisfied and happy with the service they're doing? And not just can we identify that, but Bobby, how do we actually identify some of those key features and give us that sense of how we're doing with our customers?
Yeah, that's a great question, David. It really all comes down to customer satisfaction surveys. Most of the people on the call are going to have the ability to configure service level agreements, and we'll talk a little more about those in a bit. But the service level agreement really just lets you know, are you fulfilling your obligation? You've defined an obligation to your customers on a response time and a resolution or fulfillment time. And the SLA tells you that you've fulfilled that to the satisfaction of your agreement. But what that doesn't tell you is how the customer feels about that. Maybe you responded in time, maybe you resolved in time, but maybe it was the work was sloppy, maybe the work was fantastic and they cleaned up after themselves and so on. And when maybe they had to add a plug to the wall and they cleaned up after, and so it was a good experience or whatever. So you're going to want to know that. You're going to want to know beyond we met our SLAs or exceeded them. You're going to want to know how that customer feels about that experience. And so the best way to do that is through satisfaction surveys. And so the satisfaction survey can go out right after the ticket has been closed and send a link to the customer to allow them to take that survey. Now, the survey itself, this is the survey that it takes you to. And so you're going to want to be able to configure this so that you ask the specific questions that you want. You're going to want to configure this so that it will say it was awesome. Tech was friendly, courteous, and quick. And so now I can proceed to my summary. And so this is just a really simple survey, just to sort of give us an up and down. But you can make these more elaborate to get more details. Maybe make them dynamic so that if I if I choose something other than awesome, maybe we ask for some more details about that beyond just sharing the experience with it. But the whole idea is that you want to capture how that customer felt about the engagement. You want to be able to configure these so that you don't hit them. If you've got a customer that is ticket happy, you don't necessarily want to hit them with lots of surveys during the month. Maybe you want to limit them to 1 or 2 during the month. So you're going to want to be able to control when these surveys go out. But the big thing is to be able to register that feedback and then manage that feedback on the back end so that you can understand what's working for your customers, what's not really working for them, and which agents you might need to maybe discuss some of this activity with. All that makes sense, David?
That does, Bobby. Now, you have a couple questions here as an example in Freshservice. Through your experiences, what are some of the limits when you've seen, is there a too many questions? Is there a Goldilocks, this is just right type of scenario? What's your opinion on an overall best practice on the amount of questions you put into a survey and how detailed you would want to get?
Well, this is a good example. This summary is a good example. So you've got one question that really kind of gives you an up or down, and then you've got another question that follows it that allows you to get sort of some detail around that response. Multiple questions like number 1 are fine, maybe 3. Probably don't want to do much more than 3, and then you could follow each of those 3 up with, tell us your details about this, tell us your experience with this, why you felt this way. You want to make the survey easy enough to fill out that your end user customers are going to want to fill it out. Now, obviously, when someone has a bad experience, they're going to be eager to fill that out. But you also want the people that have a good experience to be able to come in and quickly say, I had a good experience. You'll have to gauge that with your own users, your own customer base, but tend to think around 3 overarching questions with some details for each. Tends to be probably a sweet spot for those surveys.
That makes perfect sense, Bobby. I mean, especially in today's world where we're all so busy, we might take a little extra time to give a bad review, but we want to make it very easy for the customers who are happy to not skip over that survey and give us that feedback. And we want both equally, but we definitely want to make sure that there's a high survey adoption, right, where they are providing that feedback. Because how else do we improve and get better without honest and consistent feedback?
That's part of promoting the organization internally, which we'll talk a little more about promotion probably here in a bit. But promoting this survey, letting customers know that you're using these surveys to gauge your performance, that's very helpful in getting them to respond. If they know something's being done with it, they're much more likely to use it.
Another Freshservice tips and trick we're going to cover, we're actually going to talk about increasing customer satisfaction. Often the times we find customers, especially who are just getting into doing CSAT surveys and trying to get users to not only give the feedback, but what do we do with that information? As we're looking at that, do we really understand the customers are unhappy, but what can we do about it? Are the customers, not happy because of the level of effort or the perception, the awareness they have? One key thing we can do is really try to drive customers to that self-service portal where that's what people are more commonly doing. Now you are going to have your people who want to just call on the phone, and that's okay, and that's something a lot of organizations are trying to shy away from, because the cost to run the call center and to take that support phone call is a much greater cost than at least trying to get, to create that behavior to a self-service portal. So Bobby, what can we do to really change that behavior, to especially some of the people who are just very more old-fashioned, they just want to pick up the phone and call? What do you suggest, we can help our customers do there?
This one is very, very simple. You merely have separate SLAs based on where those tickets are coming from, and have separate response and resolution times and notifications based around that. We mentioned the SLA earlier, the last issue. It's going to be critical to understanding, to understanding that you're working on the tickets properly before you get to the survey from the customer. And so one of the ways that we handle that is through our SLA policies. This is an exaggerated example just to kind of give you an idea, but you're gonna have like a default SLA policy. So if none of my override policies apply, this is the time frame that's going to apply based on your priority. Now notice here I've got everything set in hours. So this is our default SLA policy. But what we do is we create a non-portal policy as well. So anytime someone enters a ticket, there's a ticket in the system, and the source of that ticket did not come from the portal, then we're going to apply this policy. And notice the difference here. Now, obviously, this is an exaggeration. You wouldn't do this in the real world. But notice instead of hours, we've now pushed it out to days and months. And so publishing that and promoting that you have SLAs, what those SLAs are, and the fact that there's a difference between using the portal and other methods, and explaining the portal is the best method for supporting your customers, and that you want to promote that. So as a result, we have a different policy for non-portal tickets. That by itself is going to promote people to use the portal. Publishing that and making that known to the end user base, that is going to drive people to the portal. Now, you're going to have to make the portal valuable, which we'll talk about here in a second. That will help drive customers to that portal. Was that helpful, David?
That was, especially because there's kind of a two-pronged benefit to doing so, right? We're going to hopefully increase customer satisfaction because we're driving them to a portal while they have better SLAs. We definitely need to make sure we articulate that your service levels will be greater when you go utilize the portal, and kind of reward those end users for doing that. But we're also likely to start seeing that cost benefit over time, where we can really reduce the number of phone calls to the service desk, and then start putting those into a portal that then get put into a queue. Maybe they can be started on quicker. They get a round robin to agents who are available. So that's a really good promotion. But I think you kind of ended with, now that they're at the self-service portal, how do we make that experience truly more valuable and a better experience for the customer?
That's a great question. This is something I've been talking about for over 25 years now. End user customers are used to an Amazon-like experience when they come to a portal. What is that Amazon-like experience? They don't need training. They don't have to go to YouTube and watch a 30-minute video to place an order with Amazon. Amazon doesn't call them back to find out what color and what size. And so that's the goal of the support portal. Use the SLA to drive them there, but then you give them that Amazon-like experience within the portal. And one of the first ways that you do that is providing answers to questions. That's through knowledge management. We talk to customers all the time that are looking to move, and maybe their knowledge is not where it needs to be able to promote it through the portal. That's where pushing customers to the portal frees up time for your agents now to begin working on some of those knowledge articles that need to be in the system. So what does that knowledge do? It allows them to come in, and I can just easily ask a question if I can type. So right here, I can type a question. The system's going to automatically prompt me to one or more knowledge articles that might respond to that. Knowledge articles are full HTML, so text, images, videos, links, whatever you need to convey that information, you're going to be able to do that. But having a robust service knowledge base allows you to deflect tickets. You know, if they can't get the answer to their question, then they're going to just come in and create a new ticket, report an issue. You want to try to deflect those if you can. And that's going to happen here through the knowledge. And it's not, you really shouldn't think about knowledge from the perspective of what IT questions do we need to answer. The best possible world for this is to bring in all internal knowledge, where maybe you've got facilities information as well as human resources knowledge as well. You want to make it a one-stop shop for your employee customers to come in and get answers to their questions about what's going on internally. Now, I realize that bringing in these other groups, that's enterprise service management, and not everybody's going to be ready for that out of the box, but this is your goal. This is where you want to get to, so that you're promoting the portal through the SLA, so they're going to get better response and better resolution times, but also they're going to get the answers to their questions. If a question is all I have, I don't have an issue, knowledge is going to deflect that ticket, avoid that ticket having to be created. That's going to drive satisfaction. I didn't have to create a ticket. I didn't have to wait for someone to help answer me. I got my answer right away. So that's really going to drive that customer satisfaction.
I love one of the first examples you showed was that that knowledge article that was a video, and you talked about the Amazon-like experience for end users, and that one example you showed is almost like the YouTube experience, which, you know, when I'm trying to figure out how to do some, you know, some work around the house, and I'm not much of a handyman, I go to YouTube and I just look up everything I can to figure something out. And so you're kind of giving that same experience, you know, within Freshservice to your end users by having the ability to embed videos where they make sense or include links. You mentioned that enterprise service management piece. We're able to point people to the right direction to where this is where you go to update your, you know, your benefits, your 401k, or to request you know, paid time off. It's giving that overall experience, especially with so many remote workers today, you know, where you can't just walk down the hall and ask somebody, hey, you know, where do you find this again? You know, I haven't checked on this in a while, and this is just that all-encompassing, you know, knowledge base for what you mentioned. If you can get to that next stage where you're bringing in and taking the burden off of, you know, the human resources group, and you're not only going to increase people's ability to do things, but make your end users more productive, because they're not waiting, you know, half a day to get an answer to a very hopefully simple question.
And David, let me add something here. There's sort of a new development in IT that might help with organizations that don't have a lot of knowledge, that need to create knowledge. The new product called Chat GPT, the AI that allows you to create text documents. That is a great resource for creating knowledge articles. The tool is very good at, you ask the question to the tool, the same question your customer's asking, and then it pulls back a text explanation of that answer. You just copy and paste that text explanation into your knowledge. So for organizations that don't have a knowledge today, that are concerned about being able to create knowledge, so you're gonna utilize SLAs to drive your customers to the portal. That's going to free up the time of your agents, and then your agents can look at those tickets, and when a question comes through, use Chat GPT to derive that answer, and then just make that a knowledge article. A great way to build your knowledge base in the system. But we're talking about customer satisfaction, David. This tips and tricks today is really about satisfaction in general, and it's not just about the customer satisfaction. There are also issues with employee satisfaction.
Yeah, the Freshservice tip right here, increasing employee satisfaction. You're going to get a great value from reducing, employees who feel like they're being overworked. That can lead to high turnover. You want a really intuitive solution for your team to be able to help end users. And in return, when you have employees, technicians who feel good and have the proper resources and tools to do their job and to utilize their skill set, that is going to reflect on end user satisfaction as well. So you get that double benefit from really helping your technicians streamline, have a balanced workload, right? Nobody likes to be fighting fires all the time and then have these periods of lull. You want to try to balance that as much as you can. So Bobby, tell us how within Freshservice you might help increase the productivity of your technicians, but also increase their satisfaction and their experience in their everyday work.
So everyone is aware of what's happened in the labor marketplace after COVID. It's difficult to find employees. It's difficult to keep employees. And so that employee satisfaction is more critical today than it's ever been. You want to be able to understand the workload of your staff, of your technicians. And so that's something that Freshservice provides here through workload management. So in this example, we've sort of set it up as a round robin where we can just automatically assign tasks out to the next available technician. We've also got the ability to come in here and assign something automatically that's unassigned. Very easy to do that, but this gives me a view of that workload across all of those employees. I can see that workload as a count, as hours, or as a percentage of their total available hours. And then Freshservice is going to bring to your attention what needs your attention right here. I can see that Bobby has too many items on this day. He's over 100% of his hours. It's going to be overtime, which is cost. But if we keep doing that to Bobby, that's going to cause some satisfaction issues with him. So very easy for me to come in and reassign this to someone else and lower his load. Very, very important to know what, just like understanding the satisfaction of your employees, of your customers. This is a way to sort of gauge the satisfaction of your staff. If you've got a couple of people in here that are pushing 100 or more, and everybody else is down below 50%, that's not a good recipe. That's a recipe for problems. And so you want to be able to distribute that work out, make it a little more equitable among all of your staff. And then that's going to drive employee satisfaction within your departments.
Great tip there, Bobby. The goal of Freshworks as an organization, Freshservice, the product, is to delight customers, have a great, easy experience, and in a world where everybody just wants things to work, right? And when they don't, it shouldn't be difficult to get help. And the overall theme here, um, if you can make that good balanced work environment that we're all looking for, right? Um, that 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 goes through from the technicians working on it. They feel they're empowered to find and to be able to operate within the tools efficiently, and then that's going to cover and that's going to help give the end user a better experience as well. So I appreciate you showing this. Probably this is probably the tip that most of our customers probably, I'm guessing, are not utilizing, um, compared to everything else we were talking
Sure.
about, and having that focus. So I appreciate you showing us this one. We appreciate everybody coming in for the tips and tricks. Bobby, I appreciate you showing us a couple different things within the Freshservice product. I'm just going to kind of wrap up a little bit about us here at Flycast Partners for the audience today. We've been around since 2011, over a decade and some. We've worked with over 1,600 customers in North America, and I'm glad to see a handful of folks from the past on the webinar today. We've done a lot of engagements, whether it's implementing a new solution or coming in to help organization tweak and improve upon the tools they currently have. We have experts that have familiarity and certifications in 7 different ITSM solutions that range from a more simple starter help desk solution ticketing system to solutions that are ITIL aligned, that provide a lot of more automation. And then we also have solutions that really scale up to the large enterprise. And we've really put a focus around ITIL methodology. That may not be for everyone, but we do have the ability to come in and help your organization learn and adopt ITIL best practices as well. And we are a veteran-owned small business, but the focus of today has really been on the Freshservice solution, which we've been a partner with Freshservice for about 3 years now, and we've made some really great strides. We've really put a large focus on the marketplace, and we know that Freshservice itself is really one of the products that can fit into any type of organization. It really works well and is easy to get up, started, and implement, and it also can carry those advanced ITIL processes, giving you the ability to create some pretty advanced workflows and automation. And we do have a brag slide here. Earlier this year, after our first big year with Freshworks, we did come out as the North American Partner of the Year, as well as the Global ITSM Strategic Partner of the Year from Freshservice earlier this year in January for our accolades in 2022. We're very proud for that award. We have a great partnership with Freshworks, and we really believe in a lot of the work they're doing and the enhancements they're putting into their product to again delight customers. If anybody has questions here, you can reach out to Flycast Partners by going to either our website or giving us a call at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. There'll be a link in the recording of this later on where you can go to info@flycastpartners.com. Whether you're using Freshservice and you may have some questions, we do have different types of offerings where we have consultants available to help scope and talk about better ways to utilize the Freshservice product. If you're not using Freshservice, we do partner with other organizations. But if you are interested in learning more about Freshservice and some of the capabilities that it can offer you that you don't have in your solution today, or you're just looking for something that's more modern, that are going to give your end users, your technicians, more benefits like we described today, you can give us a call as well. We'd be happy to set up a personalized demo with none other than one of our guests today, Bobby McCullough, to walk you through the product. Thank you, Bobby, for walking us through a couple different tips in the Freshservice product that can be applied. We appreciate you spending time with us as well.
Thanks for having me, David. I hope everyone found this helpful.
Thank you, Bobby, and thanks to all our guests who logged in today. We will make this this available on YouTube later on. If you are watching this on YouTube and you like the content, you're utilizing Freshservice, and you want to follow more tips and tricks, you can go subscribe to our YouTube channel down below. And again, thanks everyone for your support, and have a great day.